Right now, in a quiet neighborhood in Kyoto, a 70-year-old woman is sitting at her kitchen table. The room is silent, except for the sound of a pen scratching against paper. She isn't checking a banking app. She isn't looking at a crypto dashboard or scrolling through a brokerage account. She is opening a worn leather wallet, counting physical coins, and recording every single yen spent today into a paper ledger called a Kakeibo. She has done this every day for 50 years. She isn't a financial analyst, she isn't a high-frequency trader, but she is wealthier than 90% of the people watching this video. She isn't wealthy by accident, she is wealthy by intention. Most people in the West, especially those of you starting late, believe wealth is a result of a lucky investment, a high salary break, or a miraculous bull market. That is the trap. True wealth, what I call quiet wealth, is not a trophy you win. It is a byproduct of a system you build. Today, we are performing a strategic briefing on 10 Japanese money habits that have built the most financially disciplined population on Earth. This isn't about tips. It's a diagnostic blueprint for irreversible financial security. If you are 40, 50, or 60 and you feel behind, pay close attention to habit number 10. It is the psychological cornerstone that most Westerners completely ignore, and it is the exact reason your money continues to leak out of your life like water through a sieve. Let's begin the audit. Think about your current financial state. If I asked you right now to tell me exactly how much you spent on non-essentials in the last 30 days, could you do it? You likely have 4 different apps, 3 credit cards, and a digital mental map of what you think you have. That isn't clarity, that's chaos. The Western financial model is engineered for fragility. It is built on frictionless spending. Apple Pay, buy now, pay later, and auto-renewing subscriptions are all designed to make money invisible. The system wants you to swipe, tap, and forget. They want your money to be a digital abstraction so your consumption can remain impulsive. Japan takes the opposite approach. They build friction into the system. They make you feel the money leaving your possession. They understand that when money is invisible, your discipline is non-existent. If you are a late starter, aged 40 to 55, you no longer have the luxury of invisible money. You don't have 20 years to figure it out. You need a surgical audit of your behavior. You don't need more hustle. You need a philosophy that protects you from your own impulses. You need to move away from the high-stress Western model of more and toward the Japanese model of enough. This shift is the difference between retiring in anxiety and retiring in quiet authority. In 1904, a journalist named Mottainai created a system that is still the backbone of Japanese domestic life, Kakeibo. It translates to household account book, but it is much deeper than a budget. It is a mindfulness practice. While the West moved to automated tracking apps like Mint or YNAB, the Japanese stayed with the physical ledger. There is a reason for this. Neuroscience confirms that the physical act of writing activates the reticular activating system, RAS, in your brain. When you type $50 into an app, it is just data. It's a digital blip. But when you write it with a pen, it is a commitment. You are forced to confront the reality of that spending. Every month, the Kakeibo asks 4 diagnostic questions. How much money do you have available? How much would you like to save? How much are you actually spending? How can you improve? Think about that last question. How can I improve? Apps don't ask you that. They just show you a pie chart of your failure. Kakeibo forces you to look at your spending and categorize it into needs, wants, culture, and unexpected. Studies show that Kakeibo practitioners save between 25% and 35% more than those using digital tools. Why? Because you cannot ignore your own handwriting. It creates a level of awareness that makes impulsive spending nearly impossible. If you want to change your bank account, start by changing your relationship with a pen. Most people know Ikigai as the intersection of what you love and what the world needs. But in the world of wealth psychology, Ikigai is a filter for your consumption. Before any significant purchase, a Japanese saver asks, "Does this add joy or is it just noise?" This is paired with the concept of Mottainai, a deep, visceral emotional discomfort with waste. In the West, we are trained to see objects as disposable. We buy things to fill a psychological void, to signal a status we haven't earned, or to distract ourselves from the fact that we feel behind. In Japan, wasting a resource, whether it's food, time, or money, is seen as a lack of respect for the world around you. It's a violation of balance. Drop a comment. One word. Purpose. Look at your last 3 Amazon orders. Do they have a purpose? Did they contribute to your long-term stability, or were they just a dopamine hit for a Saturday afternoon? Be honest with yourself. When you combine Ikigai with Mottainai, your spending becomes surgically precise. You stop being a consumer and you start being a curator. You stop buying stuff to impress people you don't like, and you start building systems that protect the people you love. For a late starter, this isn't just a habit. It's a defense mechanism against the lifestyle inflation that is currently eating your retirement. Japan is a paradox. It is a nation of high-speed trains and advanced robotics, yet it remains one of the most cash-dependent developed nations on Earth. This isn't because they are behind the times, it's because they understand the psychology of the parting pain. Behavioral finance studies have shown consistently that paying with cash activates the insula, the pain centers of the brain. Credit cards, on the other hand, are pain blockers. When you tap a card or use a digital wallet, you aren't losing money in your mind. You're simply completing a transaction. The bill comes later, detached from the joy of the purchase. When you hand over physical, crisp bills, you feel the weight of the loss. You see the physical volume of your wealth shrinking in your hand. This is the ultimate pattern interrupt. If you are a late starter struggling to find where your money goes every month, I have a diagnostic challenge for you. Go back to an all-cash system for 30 days. Every time you want to buy a coffee, a lunch, or a gadget, you must pull out physical notes. The pain of that transaction will do more for your financial discipline than any spreadsheet or financial advisor ever could. You will find that you suddenly need about 20% less than you thought you did. Friction is your friend. Convenience is your enemy. Japan has historically maintained one of the highest savings rates in the world, even during periods of zero interest rates. The secret isn't the amount they save, it's the inevitability of the act. In the West, we have been taught to save what's left at the end of the month. We pay the landlord, the utility company, the grocery store, and the streaming services, and then we look at the scraps and call it a savings plan. That is the trap. The Japanese mindset treats savings as a non-negotiable cultural law. They save first, often starting with just 1% of their income. But that 1% is treated with the same reverence as a tax. It is moved out of the spendable pool immediately. For the 40-55 age demographic, this is the only way out. You don't have the time to wait for a big windfall or a massive raise. You need to automate the 1% inevitability. If you can't live on 99% of your income, you won't be able to live on 100% either. The math doesn't change, only the system does. Small, boring deposits made with religious consistency over the next 10 years will always outperform the grand strategy that you never actually start. Wealth isn't built in leaps, it's built in increments. The concept of Takumi refers to the pursuit of mastery and craftsmanship. In Japanese financial culture, this translates to an obsession with quality over quantity. Western consumerism is built on the disposable model. We buy cheap clothes, cheap furniture, and cheap tools because the upfront price is low. But the Japanese calculate wealth through a different metric, the cost per use. Think about that. A $300 pair of handcrafted shoes that lasts 10 years and can be resold is significantly cheaper than five $60 pairs that fall apart every 12 months. The Western mindset sees the $300 price tag and calls it expensive. The Japanese mindset sees the durability and calls it strategic. When you buy cheap, you are essentially paying a poverty tax. You are forced into a constant cycle of replacement that prevents you from ever accumulating capital. Every time you replace a $50 item, that's $50 that didn't go into your compounding engine. Stop buying cheap things. They are the most expensive items you own. Move toward the Takumi mindset. Buy the best you can afford, maintain it with obsession, and never buy it again. This is how you stop the leakage and start the accumulation. Many Japanese households still utilize a physical envelope system. They divide their monthly cash into specific envelopes: groceries, transportation, healthcare, and discretionary. When the groceries envelope is empty, the kitchen is closed. No negotiating. No transferring from the emergency fund. No digital trickery. Think about that. Most of you fail to build wealth because your system is based on willpower, and willpower is a finite resource that is exhausted by the time you finish your workday. You are trying to make good choices in a world designed to make you make bad ones. You need a structure that removes the choice entirely. You need a rule-based system. This is exactly why we built the Command Center. For those of you who joined our early supporter waitlist, I am excited to let you know that the system is live and ready for purchase. If you have been feeling behind, if you are tired of the mental math that never adds up, this is the diagnostic engine you've been waiting for. It is designed specifically for the late starter who needs a rule-based compounding system that doesn't rely on luck. Use the link in the description. The discount is only for the waitlist. Now back to the habits. In the West, we have a disease called lifestyle inflation. As soon as we get a 10% raise, we find a way to increase our expenses by 12%. We upgrade the car, we move to a better neighborhood, and we tell ourselves we earned it. Japanese culture, deeply rooted in Zen and Shinto traditions, values modesty and the avoidance of ostentation. When a Japanese salaryman receives a bonus, his standard of living usually remains unchanged. The delta, the gap between his income and his expenses, is not used to buy a new lifestyle. It is used to buy his future. I call this the modesty shield. It is your greatest defense against the 40-55 age trap. If you can keep your expenses at the level they were 5 years ago while your income grows, you are essentially speed running your way to financial freedom. If you want to be wealthy, you have to stop acting rich. Most people are so busy trying to look like they have money that they never actually have any. The Japanese understand that true status isn't what you wear, it's what you own. Shield your lifestyle from your ego. Stop for a moment. I want you to look at your bank statement from last month. Truly look at it. How much of it is clutter? How many subscriptions do you no longer use? How many impulse buys are sitting in a drawer? The Japanese concept of Danshari is more than just tidying up your closet. It is a philosophy of detachment. Dan, refusing unnecessary things. Sha, disposing of existing clutter. Re, detaching from the desire for more. In behavioral finance, Danshari is the ultimate overhead reduction strategy. When you simplify your life, your burn rate drops. When your burn rate drops, your compounding speed doubles. Wealth is not just about how much you bring in. It's about how little you require to be satisfied. If you can be perfectly happy with a simple, high-quality life, you have already won the game. You are no longer a slave to the more machine. For a late starter, minimalism isn't a sacrifice. It is the fuel for your recovery. In the West, we think in quarters. We want results in 90 days. If the stock market doesn't go up this month, we panic. If our side hustle doesn't make us a millionaire in a year, we quit. Japanese culture thinks in generations. The cedar trees in the forests of Nikko take decades to reach maturity, but once they do, they stand for centuries. They are unshakable. Your wealth is no different. Most late starters enter the market with a panic mindset. They feel they have to make up for lost time, so they take high-risk gambles on moonshot stocks or speculative assets. That is the trap. Quiet wealth requires a long-time horizon. You have to be okay with being unsuccessful in the eyes of the world for a long time before you are suddenly irreversibly wealthy. You have to trust the math of the system, not the noise of the timeline. Stop looking at the daily fluctuations. Stop checking the price every hour. Build the cedar tree. Let the roots take hold. Patience is the ultimate competitive advantage in a world that has lost its mind to speed. Here is the secret that sounds like superstition, but functions like a psychological anchor. How you treat your money determines how much of it stays with you. In Japan, there is a common practice of treating one's wallet with extreme respect. They don't stuff it with old receipts, expired coupons, or crumpled notes. They face all their bills in the same direction. They often use long wallets, so the bills don't have to be folded. They keep their money home clean and organized. This isn't about magic. It's about psychology. When you treat your money with respect, you are hyper-aware of its value. When your wallet is a chaotic mess, your finances are usually a chaotic mess. If you treat a $10 bill like trash, you will spend it like trash. But if you treat every dollar as a soldier in your army, an entity that has the power to work for you while you sleep, you will be much more careful about where you send it. You don't send your soldiers into a battle they can't win. Respect the resource, and the resource will respect you. You are not behind because you lack money. You are behind because you lack a system. The 10 habits we diagnosed today are not just cultural quirks from a distant land. They are survival mechanisms for a world that is trying to keep you broke. If you are 45, 50, or 60 years old, you don't have another 10 years to spend hoping that things will work out. Hope is not a strategy. You need to adopt the friction, the discipline, and the quiet authority of the Japanese model. You need to stop the bleeding, simplify the overhead, and start the compounding engine. Start today. Start with the Kakeibo. Get the command center if you need the rule set to follow. Strip away the digital noise and return to the physical reality of your wealth. The Western world wants you to be an impulsive consumer. Japan wants you to be a disciplined architect. The choice is yours. Build with intention. If you found value today, I highly recommend watching the video on the screen. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to leave your comment below, especially if this video made you think differently. I appreciate your support more than you know. See you in the next video.